Okay, let's dive into a really disturbing story today. Picture this. Hollywood, Florida. September 16th, 1996. It's early, like 7 a.m. But instead of just a quiet morning, there's something wrong. A really foul smell is starting to drift down the hallway of an apartment building.
Yeah, and it's not just the smell. Residents and I think a cleaning lady noticed this dark sort of liquid seeping out from under one of the apartment doors.
Exactly. Just imagine seeing that first thing in the morning. You'd know instantly something was terribly wrong.
Yeah.
Your gut instinct just screams danger.
Absolutely. That combination, the smell, the unknown liquid, it's primal. It signals decay, something unnatural, long before you even see what's causing it.
So naturally, the police are called. They arrive, get inside the apartment, and it's nightmare scene. The place is completely trashed, stuff everywhere, and that smell is just overwhelming inside.
Just hits you like a wall, I imagine.
Totally. And that's when they find him. A man, deceased, lying there. But here's where it gets even stranger. His face. It's painted, different colors, like deliberately applied.
That detail is immediately jarring, isn't it? The painted face. It suggests something ritualistic or maybe some kind of final statement. Very bizarre.
And he's got a revolver in his hand. So the initial assessment, looking at the scene superficially, points towards suicide.
Makes sense initially, gun in hand, deceased. But that painted face just nags at you, suggesting there's more going on than a straightforward suicide.
Right. And then there's something else. Behind the body, there's a canvas, an artist's canvas. And painted on it are the words, "The best of me." Just those 3 words.
The best of me. Wow. Positioned behind the body like that. What does that even mean in this context? Is it meant to be ironic, sincere, defiant?
You have to wonder. And there might have been blood splattered on it too, possibly from the gunshot. It just adds another layer of absolute strangeness.
That phrase, coupled with the violence of the scene, it raises huge questions about his state of mind, how he saw himself, and this final act. The ambiguity is chilling.
But then, the investigation takes a turn that just ramps up the unease like tenfold. They find a video camera. It's set up in the room, pointing right at the spot where the body was found.
Oh, wow. So it wasn't just something that happened. It was documented intentionally.
Exactly, like it was staged for recording.
Yeah.
And the tape inside the camera, it's labeled Last Day.
Last day.
And it's not a short tape. It contains over 20 hours of footage.
20 hours? That's incredibly extensive. That immediately shifts this from a potentially impulsive act to something meticulously planned, something performed.
And it doesn't stop there. Inside the apartment, they find 11 other videotapes. Plus, there's writing on the wall, something like 8mm tapes. Criminal documents for the FBI.
Okay, so he wanted this found. He wanted it documented and seen specifically by authorities, like a manifesto almost, but on video.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
And these other tapes aren't short either, maybe 2 to 3 hours each. This wasn't a spur of the moment.
Labeling them criminal documents for the FBI is so explicit. It's like leaving behind a perverse kind of testimony, wanting his actions and, presumably, his motives understood, a comprehensive record.
Now, amidst all this chaos and grim discovery, the detectives notice something else, something kind of pervasive. The room is messy, sure, but it's also absolutely filled with images of the Icelandic artist Björk.
Björk, the singer.
Yeah, photos torn from magazines, posters, postcards, plastered on the walls, neatly kept in files, just everywhere. It's overwhelming.
That level of focus on one person screams obsession, doesn't it? It's not just being a fan. It's like her image has completely saturated his environment, his life.
The connection seems unavoidable, right? This man was clearly deeply obsessed with Björk. It doesn't take long for them to identify the body. He's Ricardo Lopez, a 21-year-old American of Uruguayan descent. He worked for a pest control company.
Just a young guy working a regular job. Seems completely disconnected from a world-famous artist like Björk. So the question becomes, how on earth did he get to this point? What drove this?
Well, the police, understandably, prioritize watching that Last Day tape first. And it doesn't take long before they realize something far more immediate and dangerous is unfolding. Lopez talks about a homemade bomb.
A bomb. Okay, that escalates things dramatically. Now it's not just about understanding its death, it's about a potential active threat to someone else.
Exactly. The immediate fear is this bomb still in the apartment? Could it go off? It's a huge risk to everyone there, the investigators, the residents.
So they'd have to call in the bomb squad, evacuate the area.
Right.
A major emergency.
They did. The bomb squad came in. But it turns out the device, an acid bomb, apparently wasn't in the apartment. He had already mailed it to Björk in London 4 days earlier.
4 days. Oh my God. So a potentially lethal device is already in transit, heading towards its target thousands of miles away. Time is absolutely critical.
Seconds count. They have to contact the authorities in London, like, immediately. Try and intercept this package before it reaches Björk.
Just an incredible race against time.
And somehow, incredibly, they manage it. The package is located at a postal sorting facility in South London.
Wow, that's unbelievably fortunate. A testament to quick action and maybe just sheer luck finding it in the postal system like that.
Definitely a close call. The package itself was disguised, made to look like a book.
A book, so designed to look harmless, to get past any initial suspicion? Devious?
Very. And they suspected it was booby-trapped, obviously, so the experts handled it extremely carefully. And thankfully, they managed to disarm the acid bomb safely.
The disguise just highlights how premeditated and malicious this whole plan was. It was meant to be opened without suspicion.
And then, they started to understand the motive behind this horrifying plan from the Last Day tape. Ricardo Lopez didn't actually want to kill Björk.
Not kill her. Then what?
His goal was arguably even more twisted. He wanted to disfigure her, badly, with the acid. He wanted her to be permanently scarred, so she would, in his words, remember him forever.
That is profoundly disturbing. It's about control, about leaving a permanent mark, a twisted connection through suffering rather than ending a life.
And it gets worse. He apparently expressed a wish, a hope, that her son might also be affected by the acid.
That's just pure evil. Targeting a child, it's almost incomprehensible.
Thank God that package was intercepted, thinking about what could have happened to Björk, to her son. It's terrifying.
Absolutely horrifying. A tragedy narrowly averted, no question.
So while that last tape revealed the immediate threat and this awful motive of disfigurement, the police still had those other 11 tapes in Lopez's diary to go through.
Right, the criminal documents. They held the key to the why, presumably. The deeper reasons behind this obsession and violence.
And what they uncovered was, well, it was rooted in something ugly. The trigger for Lopez's rage, his feeling of betrayal, was learning that Björk was in a relationship, specifically with a black British music producer named Goldie.
Ah, so there's a racial element here too.
A huge one. His reaction was intensely racist. He believed, in his warped view, that she should only be with a white man. Her relationship with Goldie was seen by Lopez as some kind of violation, something that needed to be punished.
That's sickening. So the obsession wasn't just possessive, it was deeply intertwined with racist ideology.
He literally said it on video. I want to kill her. I want to send her to hell. Though later he focused on the disfigurement plan. The hatred was palpable.
Those words, they just expose the sheer violence of his prejudice and how he completely dehumanized her. A chilling insight into how obsession and bigotry confuse.
And here's the absolutely tragic, bitter irony of it all. By the time Lopez mailed that bomb and killed himself, Björk and Goldie had already broken up.
No, really.
Yeah. But Lopez, totally consumed by his obsession, his racism, his isolated world, he had no idea.
So his entire final violent act was based on information that was already wrong. A reality constructed entirely inside his own head, completely detached. That's heartbreaking in its own awful way.
It really is. And so began the deeper investigation, delving into those other tapes and into this massive diary. He kept over 800 pages, detailing his thoughts, his descent, his fixation.
800 pages. That's an incredibly detailed, intimate look into the mind of a stalker. Terrifying, but potentially invaluable for understanding how these things develop, maybe seeing warning signs.
So just to summarize the sequence of events we've covered, Ricardo Lopez's intense obsession with Björk, his mental state spiraling downwards, the meticulous construction and mailing of the acid bomb, and then his own suicide, staged and recorded.
It's a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked obsession and where it can lead. It really underscores the importance of recognizing and addressing mental health issues before they escalate to violence.
And those video diaries, along with that massive written diary, they serve as this incredibly chilling record of his deteriorating mental state, his warped logic. The police found some really disturbing patterns in the written diary.
Patterns like...
Well, they flagged specific things. Mentions of homicide appeared 14 times. Suicide, 34 times. Other celebrities were mentioned 52 times. He wrote about his own perceived personal failures 168 times.
Okay, so a clear preoccupation with violence, failure, and famous people.
And Björk's name. It appeared 408 times.
408 times. That just quantifies the sheer scale of his fixation. She was overwhelmingly central to his thoughts. Those numbers paint a very clear picture of an all mind consumed by violent ideation and this specific obsession.
So let's look a bit at Ricardo Lopez himself. Who was he before all this? He was born January 14, 1975. Youngest kid in a middle-class family. They'd immigrated to U.S., ended up in Hollywood, Florida. He had a much older brother, and his mother was 40 when she had him.
Being the youngest with a significant age gap maybe contributed to feelings of isolation within the family dynamic. It's possible.
And there was a significant biological factor, too. He was born with Klinefelter Syndrome. That's a chromosomal condition. 47XY instead of the usual 46X. Yeah.
Ugh. Klinefelters. Yes, that can have various physical effects. Often includes being taller, maybe a less typically masculine physique, potential for gynecomastia, breast tissue development, smaller tests. It can definitely impact self-esteem, body image, especially during adolescence.
And it seems it really did impact his self-esteem. He suffered from significant social isolation, never had any romantic relationships, struggled even with friendships. His video diaries are apparently full of constant self-deprecation.
That chronic self-loathing and social isolation are huge red flags for underlying mental health struggles. Lack of meaningful connection can really amplify feelings of despair and loneliness.
He had artistic aspirations, music, art, but didn't really pursue them. Felt like a failure there too, maybe. After high school, he ended up just working for his brother's tusk control company.
Giving up on those artistic dreams could easily feed into that sense of failure, that feeling of being stuck or purposeless.
Interestingly, Björk wasn't his first celebrity obsession. Before her, he was intensely focused on the actress Geena Davis.
Geena Davis. From when?
After seeing Thelma and Louise in 1991, he apparently claimed he was an even bigger fan of hers than John Hinckley Jr. was of Jodie Foster.
Wow, invoking the Hinckley comparison himself. That's deeply troubling. It shows an awareness, almost a blueprint for that kind of dangerous fixation.
Yeah. But that obsession faded. Apparently it died down when Geena Davis went public about having a boyfriend.
Which suggests, again, that possessive element, right? He couldn't handle her being taken or unavailable in his fantasy world.
Seems like it. But sadly, as his social withdrawal got worse, his family didn't really seem to intervene effectively regarding his obvious mental health issues. His brother's advice was apparently just, get a girlfriend.
Which is well-intentioned, maybe, but so unhelpful. It simplifies complex issues like social anxiety and deep-seated insecurity, probably making him feel even more misunderstood and isolated.
And so Björk became the next focus, someone new to latch onto emotional.
Right, she became the new object for that idealized projection. Her artistic persona, her public image, maybe provided rich material for his fantasies.
He started that video diary on his 21st birthday, January 14th, 1996. Said his purpose was to document his life, his art, his plans, and also to find comfort by talking to this imagined audience. He even saw it as a form of therapy, delusionally.
Yeah, the video diary became a substitute for real human connection and professional help. While journaling can be therapeutic, in his case, without any external check or balance, it seems to have just reinforced and amplified his obsessions.
His fixation on Björk started back in 1993. He saw her Human Behavior music video and was just instantly captivated. He started collecting everything about her, information, pictures. He even paid someone to get her private home address in London.
Paying for her address, that's a clear line crossed, isn't it? From admiration, however intense, into active stalking. A complete violation of her privacy and safety.
Absolutely. His admiration warped into this dangerous obsession, this desire to possess her somehow. He wrote her letters, but they went unanswered, which likely just fueled his frustration and his craving for acknowledgement.
That lack of response probably intensified his feelings of rejection, maybe twisting that admiration into resentment and anger. The need for control starts to build.
He claimed his feelings weren't sexual, but apparently his diaries and videos contained contradictions. Questions about her private life that suggest something deeper, maybe something repressed, driving the obsession.
That denial of a sexual component, paired with intrusive questions, it suggests a possible disconnect between his conscious understanding of his feelings and the underlying reality of his fixation. It's complex.
He even did artwork related to her, like creating a half-torso sculpture of Björk, blurring that line between fandom and something much more consuming.
These artistic expressions, viewed through the lens of his escalating obsession, become pretty sinister. They're like tangible manifestations of his fixation.
And the videotapes apparently showed that progression clearly, from initial fascination to intense obsession, then simmering anger, and finally this powerful desire to punish Björk for her perceived transgressions against him.
The videos provide this horrifying, real-time documentation of a mind unraveling, charting that descent from admiration to hatred and planned violence.
There's also a particularly disturbing detail. He would apparently dance naked to Björk's music sometimes. It suggested this might have been some kind of release for his deep insecurities about his body, his social awkwardness.
That's quite a behavior. It points to a really complex mix of factors. Admiration for her art, maybe repressed desires, and possibly an attempt to confront or escape his own physical self-consciousness in this very private, performative way.
The shift in the tone of the video diaries became really clear after he found out about Björk's relationship with Goldie. That news just unleashed this torrent of betrayal, anger, and solidified his plans for revenge.
Yeah, that relationship news was the catalyst. It turned his obsessive thoughts into concrete, violent plans, fueled by that racist ideology and his personal sense of rejection.
His initial plan was truly horrific. He considered trying to infect Björk with HIV using contaminated needles.
HIV needles, that's just ghastly. The level of malice is staggering.
He even researched how to avoid capture, reading a book called Guide de Maupassant, Anatomy of a Stalker, which detailed stalker cases like Mark Chapman, who shot John Lennon, and the attack on actress Teresa Saldana.
So he was studying methodology, researching how to commit the crime and potentially get away with it. That shows cold calculation, not just impulsive rage.
He eventually abandoned the needle plan, apparently due to practical difficulties. That's when he decided on the acid bomb, hidden inside a book, still aiming to disfigure her and horrifically hoping to harm her son too.
Switching to the acid bomb shows that persistent desire to inflict harm, just changing the method. And including her son in that intention, it reveals a chilling depth of depravity.
There was a moment apparently where a phone call from his mother almost made him reconsider everything. A brief moment of doubt. But then, shortly after, he had a fight with his brother, and that seemed to just push him back onto the destructive path, cementing his resolve.
That detail is heartbreaking. It highlights the potential impact of intervention, even seemingly small interactions. A supportive moment might have pulled him back, but tragically, a negative one pushed him further down. A missed opportunity.
Symbolically, he shaved his head. A transformation. He then meticulously recorded the entire bomb-making process, showed off his, frankly, surprising knowledge of chemicals. He even tested the device successfully.
Shaving his head feels like shedding his old identity, fully embracing this destructive role. Documenting and testing the bomb, it's chillingly methodical. Shows a disturbing level of competence in planning.
He carefully hollowed out a book, concealed the bomb inside, created a fake cover, rigged a trigger mechanism. It was a carefully constructed instrument of terror.
The level of detail in the construction, the disguise, it underscores his commitment to carrying out the attack.
He wrapped the book like a gift, made it look like it was sent from a Hollywood studio, a cruel deception. His final words to the camera before mailing it asserted his sanity and his intent. Then he sent it off to Björk's London address, the one he'd illicitly obtained.
That final declaration of sanity is particularly chilling, a complete lack of insight, or perhaps a deliberate attempt to control the narrative, even as he commits horrific acts.
Then he returned to his apartment, shaved his head again, this time completely bald, skinhead style. Painted his face and upper body with red-green paint. Set up that The Best of Me canvas. It was like this final, bizarre ritual.
These last acts in the apartment seem like a complete descent into psychosis. The ritualistic preparation for his final act is both terrifying and profoundly sad, disconnected from reality.
He danced to Björk's music one last time. The final song playing as he prepared was I Remember You by Mazzy Star.
The choice of song just adds another layer of poignant, twisted irony to his final moments.
Then he showed the .38 caliber revolver to the camera. His last dance ended as the song finished. He shot himself. His intention was for his blood to splatter onto the canvas, a final artistic statement maybe, though apparently very little blood actually hit it.
His suicide, timed to the end of the song, filmed. It was the ultimate staged finale to his meticulously documented descent.
He died believing his gift, the bomb, would reach Björk, would scar her forever, physically and mentally.
That final delusion that he would achieve this perverse immortality in her memory through violence. It's a chilling thought.
But thankfully, miraculously, the police intercepted that package. They prevented an unimaginable tragedy.
That interception remains the one point of relief in this entire dark saga. It prevented a horrific crime and undoubtedly saved Björk and potentially her son from severe harm.
When Björk learned about all of this, her reaction was reportedly one of sadness for Lopez's death, but understandably, immense concern for her son's safety. She even offered condolences to Lopez's family.
Her response shows incredible grace and empathy, doesn't it? Even after being the target of such a terrifying plot. Her primary concern being for her son is completely understandable.
The whole ordeal obviously disrupted her life significantly, forcing her to increase security, delaying an album release. It must have been terrifying.
Absolutely. The psychological impact of knowing someone planned such a thing, targeted you and your child, it's immense.
She later spoke about the fear and sadness in interviews, but also about her efforts to move on from the horrific experience.
Her ability to eventually speak about it and focus on moving forward demonstrates remarkable resilience in the face of such extreme trauma.
This whole disturbing story has, perhaps inevitably, been adapted into documentaries and even fictionalized in shows like Third Watch and the movie The Fanatic. It clearly struck a nerve.
Its adaptation into media reflects how disturbing and compelling the case is, raising those difficult questions about obsession, mental illness, fandom, and the dark potential within human relationships, even parasocial ones.
Ultimately, this case is just a truly chilling look into the darkest corners of human behavior. Ricardo Lopez's video diaries offer this unprecedented, terrifying window into a mind consumed by obsession and hate. And those missed opportunities for intervention are just heartbreaking.
The extensive documentation Lopez left behind serves as a stark warning about the progression of extreme fixation and the critical need for early identification and intervention in cases of stalking behavior and severe mental health struggles.
It definitely leaves you with a profound sense of unease, and maybe a reminder about the importance of living cautiously, being aware of the need for healthy boundaries in admiration and support. And perhaps, above all, it underscores the value of empathy, sincerity, and basic mutual respect in how we interact with everyone, especially those in the public eye.
Absolutely. The case is a tragic reminder of the importance of fostering a culture of empathy, promoting mental health awareness, and recognizing the boundaries that must exist in all human interactions, particularly in the often distorted relationship between public figures and those who admire them.